Everybody's been posting about all the drama lately, and yeah, it's all fun and whatever, but it's literally just drama. I don't trust Facebook. I don't trust people who post on Facebook, especially they post on Facebook. They put themselves out there, and then they change their name so nobody can find them and verify this story, except for apparently Nina chased them down before they changed their name, and so we're not gonna go over all that drama and stuff that's going on lately. And I'm glad Anxious Aunt doesn't believe the drama. When I saw them post about it today, I was like, oh come on, you guys, please don't believe this drama. Because it's just why is everybody trying to also cement in this pregnancy rumor? That everybody's also trying to cement in, I don't know, because part of that post was to also cement in the pregnancy rumor that has been being spread too, by only one streamer though. But so we're gonna go into another case comparison and get back on to talking about the case and everything, and talk about some case similarities. And there's a really important case I ran across that I think you guys will like, especially all you Nick Go to John supporters out there. All you Nick Go to John supporters out there, I got a good case for you. You're 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 gonna love it. You're probably gonna feel the same way about this case as you feel about Nick's, and probably be a little angry at Gypsy's case too because of it. Because we're gonna go into talking about a couple things. So everybody knows Gyp story, so we're not gonna go over that. But I ran it. Thank you to Rotten Mango. I love to watch her. She brought me to this case, by the way. So if you want to see Rotten Mango tell this in her way, in her lovely way that she does, go visit Rotten Mango for this whole case information. And you can also Google it and read about it. And I love the way Rotten Mango tells her stories and everything. And she's fabulous. And so go see her next for the full story on Sarah McLinn. She pronounces her name weird. It took me a minute to find out how to um, spell her name today, but or spell her name. So, but I found it. I found Sarah McLinn. And so let's dive into it. So Sarah McLinn grew up being very abused in all ways, physical, emotionally, essay. When, when she was 17, a neighbor of hers, a man, said he wanted to take her in and take care of her. And she moved in with him at 17. He told everybody that he told some people it was his roommate, he told some people it was his niece. He told a few different stories of who this girl was that lived with him. But he also told people that he wanted to be somebody who could be there for people, and he wanted to take care of people, and he want those types that just say that outside their door they're the pillar of community, and they're just the best person in the world, and now they're going to take people into their home, and they're going to help them. They're going to help them through life. Yeah. John Wayne Gacy type. Remember how John Wayne Gacy owned his own business? Used to taking boys who were homeless and give them a job, and then later they'd end up under his floorboards. Well, that's kind of what he was like. Pillar of the community out there, just like John Wayne Gacy. Although he wasn't a murderer, he wasn't that kind of psychotic. No, instead, he wasn't any better than Sarah had been getting. He would put her body down. He would body shame her. He would tell her that she needed plastic surgery, that she needed augmentations, a BBL. He would essay her. He would make her feel like she was in debt to him in multiple ways. He did make her go get that BBL. And then he said, "You owe me $10,000 for it." And then he made her go get a nose job. And she didn't want to do this. She was very scared of doctors. And she had a lot of fears, but he made her go do this. He made her go get a nose job. He made her go get her body changed for him. And this is that horrible that we call forced body dysmorphia. People get forced body dysmorphia. It's really hard when somebody constantly puts down your body and shames it and makes you think you got to change it, and they convince you to change it, or they convince you to do something stupid that you would never do to prove that you don't have a body that needs to be changed. It's very hard. And after a few years of this, going on, Alyssa, this is where a few people come into the story. Alyssa can't take what's going on to Sarah anymore. Alyssa cannot take it. She starts planning to put in place a way to get out of this situation, because Alyssa is starting not to fear what Harold's telling Sarah. Harold is telling Sarah, "You're going to be alone if you leave me. You're going to be homeless. I'm the one giving you a home. I'm the one paying for everything. You don't got a job. You don't got anything. You're going to be homeless. You're going to..." Just making her think, I got to stay here because I don't want to be homeless. I don't know what I'm going to do. How am I going to have a life if I leave here? I don't know anybody. And I just didn't really look up where her parents were, why her parents are not in this picture. But she doesn't have anybody there for her. And so this is going badly. But Alyssa can't take watching what's happening to Sarah anymore. She can't take it anymore. She can't. So Harold comes home one day, and Alyssa knows his routine when he gets home. Beer after beer after beer after beer. And so prior to Harold coming home, she took a bunch of sleeping pills. I think some Ambien or something. Put it in a glass dish and crushed it up into a real fine powder. Put that powder in a piece of paper, folded it up real tiny, stuck it on top of the microwave under a jar. Harold got home, sat at the table and said, "Bring me another beer. Bring me another beer." By the time she got to the fifth beer, she knew that he was going to start getting a little bit dizzy and wasn't going to notice by the sixth beer what she was doing. So by the time he said, "Bring me that sixth beer," she popped it open by the microwave, quickly grabbed the paper, ripped it open, shook it up. She also didn't want him to taste it. She knew that mixing that would give the beer an even bitter taste. And she didn't want him throwing it back up, too. So there's a few reasons why she waited till beer number 6. So she serves him beer number 6. Of course, he gulps that right down, didn't even taste it. He didn't even notice like she was hoping. He gets up to walk across the living room, and boom, falls down. That Ambien kicked in so hard, he was out. She took this opportunity to go to her car, grab the zip ties she'd been saving, and bring those in. Zip tied his legs and his hands, so just in case he woke up, couldn't move. Because Harold is a big guy, she's a little girl. I mean, how are you going to get out of this situation? She knows he can overpower her because he has been for years, been overpowering her and essaying her and stuff. So, Vanessa is like, no, Alyssa, you do this and you're going to get Sarah in trouble. So, Vanessa grabs scissors and undoes all the zip ties and frees Harold. And Harold was moaning there for a second, which made Vanessa be like, no, we can't do this. We can't do this. Vanessa heard him moan, and she was like, we can't do this. We can't do this. You're going to get Sarah in trouble. However, Alyssa overpowered Vanessa and retied Harold back up. She was bound and determined, no matter what Harold did or said or whatever, she was going to do this. She was going to remain in control, and she was going to do this. And so she took the opportunity, after she overpowered Vanessa, to quickly search his neck for that sweet spot and do it. After she did it, she took some of his blood and wrote on the wall, "Freedom." And this is the interesting part. Right after she wrote "Freedom," she said she could feel the sun on her face and she finally felt free. And it's kind of funny because that's how Gypsy explained her first day in prison, her wonderful feeling of freedom after it was all said and done. Because, see, Gypsy went from unaliving her mother to the next 5 days being in the care of Nick, to what she hated. So she did those posts, and then she was in the care and custody of the police for a couple of days, and then they threw her in prison. And the first day in prison, even though she was kind of in prison, she was alone to do whatever she wanted. She wanted to go outside and sit in the sun, she could. If she wanted to run the track, she could. I mean, she was finally free, that she didn't have another person tied to her. Which is kind of funny that Gypsy said the reason why she wanted a dog was because she's never been alone. And she doesn't know what it's like to be alone. However, that first day in prison, and some of her prison cellmates said she would run the track by herself. So it seems like Gypsy does enjoy some alone time. Once again, Gypsy caught lying, because she says she doesn't want to be alone while Ryan's at work. She needs a dog. Well, you enjoyed being alone in prison. You enjoyed walking the track by yourself. You enjoyed sitting in the sun by yourself. You enjoyed a lot of solitary time. You even spent, according to you, solitary time in your room alone when all your roommates were out, just thinking and contemplating. So to me, it seems like you looked for solitary moments, Gypsy. So you can't tell me that you needed a dog to keep you company when we do know you enjoy solitary moments. So why you wanted to bring a poor dog into this situation? Don't know. So Harold's family got worried about him. He wasn't answering his phone or his texts. So they did a welfare check on him. And that welfare check didn't turn out good. And when they questioned people, they found out that he had a roommate named Sarah McLinn, and she was missing along with his car. And this the interesting part. This is all going down. The side note for the fun of it, when I found out it was in Lawrence, Kansas. Come on. If Lawrence, Kansas rings a certain bell in your mind, then you're a Supernatural fan. No, I'm just kidding. So, Supernatural fans out there, this is all going down in Lawrence, Kansas. So, this all happened on, what was it? Let's see. Was it January 14th? Because what, they found her on, okay, they found her on, January 25th. So they found her 11 days later, all the way down. They found Harold's car all the way down in the Everglades National Park in Florida. Way down there, they found her way down there in the Everglades. She was in Harold's car. It did have guns and knives and things that scared the cops, and so they arrested Sarah, and she admitted up to the unaliving right away. So if Alyssa did the unaliving and Vanessa tried to stop her, why is Sarah on trial, you might ask? And why did Sarah admit up to it? Well, that's if the cops found Sarah in the car. This is the crazy part of the case. See, this was Sarah's body. But the cops did not find Sarah at the steering wheel. It could have been Alyssa, could have been Vanessa, could have been one of the many other. This is where we get into the case warning of we're now going to talk about DID, guys. And I do not represent the DID community. Multiple personalities is a very difficult thing to deal with. But this case, we're going to talk about it. So Nick was autistic, and he was convinced to do the unaliving because Gypsy spent a year trying to trick him into it. The mom doesn't like you. The mom has cancer. What finally apparently worked was, I was pregnant with your daughter. My mom made me lose your daughter. And then Nick finally snapped. Nick got to his snapping point. And he did it. Now, Nick had a rough life growing up too. His parents got divorced. His mom was on drugs. He wasn't always very well taken care of either. His dad didn't believe in mental disorders and didn't believe in helping him get fixed. Nobody knew that Sarah had DID. Friends would describe Sarah growing up as, one friend said, I stopped being her friend because I hung out with her today and it wasn't Sarah. He goes, and I didn't like who it was. He says, I don't know why Sarah was acting so different, but I didn't like Sarah anymore. So whoever was at the wheel was no longer Sarah. Vanessa and Alyssa will tell you that Sarah, at the age of 16, died when she got burned by cigarettes. Sarah couldn't take any more abuse. Her personality finally fell to the back of the bus. And everybody else fought over the driver's seat from time to time. Now, Alyssa was the cold one. She didn't like that Harold was telling her she would be homeless and she would be without people. So she thought, I need to learn how to survive. Somebody had brought over a beautiful white pet bunny. Sarah took it out of, or Alyssa took it out of the box, took it to the sink, unalived it, cooked it, and ate it. She said, I can do this survival thing. She had saw a thing where people had eaten guinea pigs and stuff. Alyssa knew that she could survive. And for Alyssa to unalive this bunny and guinea pigs and skin them and eat them made her feel something inside her that made her feel secure. She could do this. She could do this. So when Sarah got to court, unfortunately, Alyssa was at the wheel when she did a lot of the testifying. They did put Sarah up on the stand. And she was cold and she was calculating. Had maybe Vanessa been up there. See, Alyssa is the protector type. She is doing what she thinks is going to protect Sarah at all times. And she thought being cold and calculating was the way to do it. And this is where Nick and her case kind of intertwine. You got different types of mental disorders that led to the unaliving of somebody. But the cases get similar in Sarah wasn't allowed to, her defense team was not allowed to say anything bad about Harold on stand. Nothing bad about Harold while she was on the stand. Which cases do this? Harold is the victim in the case. So the victim, you're not allowed to talk bad about the supposed victim, okay? And his daughter got up there, what a good dad he was, and what a good person he was, and how he just wanted to help the community and help people in the community and be there for people. And Sarah was one of them, and she's just ungrateful. And it got brought up how Alyssa unalived animals, and she took enjoyment in it. Just like in Nick's case, they brought up that Victor would talk about unaliving and he liked it. And that he was the one who brought up the BDSM. And he was the master in control. And so if he was the master in the BDSM world, he was the master in the schmurder world. And so that's the unfortunate part about our justice system, is when you're on the defense side, you're allowed to defend yourself unless it puts the victim, the supposed victim, in a negative light. At my 7-8 years ago at my trial, my husband was not allowed to take the stand and talk about his dad's abusive past because his dad was the supposed victim. And so we weren't allowed to shed light on that pillar of the community sitting there behind there, man who literally was also another pillar of the community, couldn't be a violent man. Nobody believed me when I told my side of the story that knew him because he's a pillar of the community. Pillar of the community. I guess my tailbone broke itself. And, well, they told everybody I gave myself the concussion. Apparently, I gave myself a concussion. I don't know how, but, well, they gave a reason why they think I gave myself the concussion. But you're not allowed to do that. This isn't the first case. See, I've been in a case myself, and this isn't the first case. Or I've heard that you cannot put a negative thing on the stand. My husband was mad. My husband wanted to take that stand. He wanted to tell he finally wanted to get it out. The whole violent history that he grew up in with that man. But the defense said the prosecution wouldn't allow him to tarnish his dad's name because his dad was technically the victim in the case. So, luckily, I still won the case, but, well, 2/3 of the case. I won 2 out of 3 charges. So, luckily, I won the 2 charges that mattered the most to me. I didn't care about the trespassing charge. That one was stupid. It was the other 2 charges I cared about. But, anyways, there was a lot of things not allowed in Sarah's trial. They could say every rotten thing they wanted to about Sarah. See, that's where our justice system goes so wrong, is because the prosecution can do wrong. The prosecution side, they can do all the wrong they want. They're not the ones on trial. The one on trial is the one at the defense table. And the prosecution can say whatever mean thing they want and blow it out of proportion and make it sound like you do this all the time and this is who you are 100% of the time. So, she was eventually sentenced 50 years to life. That just means after 50 years, that's the first time that she can file for parole. Every certain amount of years, X amount of years, you're allowed to file for parole. So if in 50 years she files for parole and it fails, in about another 3-4 years, she could file for parole again. She's got to wait a little bit, 2, 3, 4 years, whatever the state laws are. And then, but she's in there technically up to life, minimum 50, max life, depending upon parole. When she got in prison, though, unlike Gypsy, this is where her and Gypsy separate. Now, this is why it's unfair that Gypsy got out at 10 years. Because right now, Alyssa's been in there for 10. She's been in there for 10 years right now. Her cellmate, there's a girl who spent a year in there with Sarah. Did I say Alyssa? I meant Sarah. But so Sarah has taken the most of her 10 years, though. She has gone to counseling to integrate her personalities. I know that sometimes it's a tough subject to talk about integration when it comes to DID. To finally have counseling and get her DID under control to manageable. I don't know if Sarah's emerged. They haven't talked about if Sarah's reemerged through the healing, if they've gotten to bring Sarah back to the front of the bus. But her roommate sat there and watched her kick and scream in the middle of the night. No, stop, don't, and just scream. And her past just tortured her because every night when she slept, all she could see was the abuse in her head. She'd dream about the abuse. And so her cellmate got out, started holding conferences and stuff at the library, saying Sarah is proof that your trauma doesn't have to define you, that you can heal and you can become a regular member of society. Now, see, recidivism is all about that. Like, that's what prison's supposed to be for, right? You're supposed to come out of prison. The whole purpose of going to prison is to rehabilitate and come out a new person. You paid for your crime. The true payment of your crime is not going in prison and bragging about it. And they said she never bragged about the murder, the schmurder. She never bragged about it. She never bragged about this one bit. She was a very she didn't totally regret exactly what she did to get away in a way, but she didn't brag about it, and she was a very sweet soul, and you could tell damaged people when they're really damaged. Because a damaged person, look at Adaptive Kate. Let's look at Adaptive Kate for a second. Every time Gypsy and Christy and Bree and their little minions be mean to Kate, Kate drops her TikTok. She's dropped it 3 times now. And that's because Christy came up with a nickname for her. I don't know if I should repeat it or not because I don't want this name getting around on the internet. Maybe you can watch the cutting board and stuff and they'll tell you the nickname. But I don't want to spread nicknames for Adaptive Kate. Real people who are really damaged, when people yell at them and put them down, they cry, they get hurt, they leave the situation. They don't clap back. They don't fight with you. They don't know how to clap back. They don't know how to fight. They don't because they're so damaged. They're so used to being overpowered and being damaged that all they can do is go cry. And it's not a weakness. People see it as a weakness. But you just walk away and cry. Because you're not going to sit there and you're not going to clap back at them. You're not going to call them names back. You're not going to bully them back. You're out there to help people. You're out there to be there for people. And when people are mean to you and put you right back in that position that you've been in your whole life of being overpowered and put down by somebody, it just makes you retract back into the world. And that's what they've done to Adaptive Kate. That's what happens with damaged people. They retract back into the world, or back into their own world, their safe place, their home, their safe haven. They don't clap back. They don't put up clever little witty TikToks getting back at you. Because a lot of us lack confidence. We lack confidence. And that wit that goes with that confidence to be able to clap back and bully another person. And that's kind of what's going on right now on the internet. That's why I don't want to talk about what's going on. Because I know people are a little disappointed in Adaptive Kate for pulling back again. I hope she does come back. But I know exactly how she feels. When people hurt you, when you're already hurting and people hurt you, You just pull back into the world again. And oh, where was I going with this? I'm like, where I got off on a little track because I was talking about, and I feel so bad for Adaptive Kate because Gypsy is an effective bully. She's not a trauma survivor. She's a very effective. She's, well, like the cutting board said, she's a mean girl without looking sexy like Regina George. She's trying to play. You see her on the boardwalk flipping her hair and all sexy. She's all like, when she was on the beach in California, she's like, I'm the sexiest thing out here in this pink split weird dress that has all the wrong cuts on it. And Gypsy is not your type of dress to wear, by the way. You don't look like a Barbie doll. You're trying to look like that blonde Barbie doll, but you don't. And that's how I see her on the boardwalk. Is she's imagining as if she's a little girl and she put the Barbie in the pink dress with the long blonde hair and she's walking down the boardwalk. She flips her hair and stands back, poses, and take the picture. I'm posed. She's trying to show Ken that she's that bleach blonde Barbie doll on the beach, on that California beach. She's trying to blend in with those California girls. Although if those California girls really did clap back at Gypsy, maybe she'd run crying for once. But she's a very effective bully. Her and Christy are very effective bullies. They hurt the damaged. People that are already damaged getting hurt. It's a sad thing. Well, thankful to the cellmate of Sarah. I mean, they couldn't get her a new trial because the DA didn't want to take it to trial. But the DA tried to give a compromise and say, well, we'll commute her sentence down to 25 years to life. So in 15 years, as of February 1st, 2039, is the first time she comes up for parole instead of in 35 years. Because she still has 35 years of her 50-year sentence. However, or minimum of 50. Remember, this is a minimum of 50. Because in 2039, she is allowed to file for parole, but that doesn't mean she's going to get parole, which is a sad thing because she really is damaged. And I feel like this world, do they not know how to recognize damaged people, or do they? And they just like damaging them more. Because sometimes I walk through my life wondering that question every day of my life. Because why does the evil in this world always win out and the damaged keep getting damaged? Why does the evil of this world get to keep taking from the damaged and just don't let them live their lives and heal? Every day I walk through this world asking that question. Why does evil get to always win against the damaged? Why is it easy for judges and everybody to rule against the damaged and let the evil win instead of put evil in their place? I mean, a judge could be told and proved the prosecution lies, that the prosecution did wrong in the case. Yet they're still punishing the defendant's side. They're still punishing the damaged person that is sitting over there. And what makes it worse is when they tell a damaged person they're not damaged. They tell that damaged person that they're perfectly okay. Perfectly normal, perfectly okay, and deserves to be punished. Sorry. This is a touching case. Sorry, guys. This is a very touching case. This is a very hard case. Give me a sec. It's a very hard case. The who is it? There's this place that it's called the IPPI Stars, Hippie Stars. I never heard of this before. It's called the International Public Policy Institute. Stop trafficking and reject slavery. See, he held her as her eschewal, and her he made her get the BBL and said, now you owe me 10 grand. Now you owe me 5 grand for the nose job. Now you owe me this. Now you owe me that. You're forever indebted to me. She didn't want the nose job. She didn't want the BBL. When she got in prison, she was like, how do I undo this? How do I undo this? Because she couldn't stand having it in any longer. She was like, I need to undo this. She can't undo her nose job, but she knows she can at least undo the BBL. She wanted it undone. BBLs are not safe. Plastic surgery is difficult. It can be not safe. It mostly can be safe. You could be rotten. Mango will tell you about the rare cases where people do go into comas and don't come back. But she'll tell you the bad side of the he basically put her under servitude, made her indebted to him. She owed Harold everything. She owed her abuser everything. However, the roommate, the cellmate, luckily was effective enough. It's an unusual case. And under unusual circumstances, the DA said, we're not going to hold another trial, but we'll give her 25. So, but the people of Ipastars says she served 10. This is long enough. She's paid for her crime. She's rehabilitated. Let her show the world what real rehabilitation looks like. Let's bring her out of prison and show the world that we didn't get rid of her DID. No, it's not about getting rid of DID. It's about getting DID manageable to where Alyssa's never going to do this again. And Sarah's not going to get stuck in this position again because she did her counseling. She did her classes. And guess what, Gypsy? You're going to be jealous. But because she is such a damaged, sweet soul, she was accepted into the puppy program. She said those dogs healed her more than anything. Those dogs were just a blessing. They healed her. She loved that puppy program. She was deserving of the puppy program. She got the puppy program. Everybody's tried to stand out and say, no, Alyssa really has survived unspeakable trauma. So much so, because DID, you're not born with it. It's created, I think. Don't stand by me saying that, because I don't know a lot about DID. But as far as I know, it takes a lot of abuse And Rotten Mango explains it in a really good way how most people handle trauma. About trauma comes into your glass and you empty it, and but there's some people with smaller glasses and it feels like they're constantly overflowing, and they got to get more glasses to handle the trauma. And that's where DID comes in, is because they have to handle these glasses, have to pick up what feels like a never ending, it's not a dripping occasionally of trauma, and then it gets dumped and you get over it, and you move on with your life. No, it feels like an endless stream, and you got to get more cups in there to take this trauma. And she does have a personality. All of her personalities, Alyssa, Vanessa, everybody, none of them remember anything before junior high. There's one personality that holds all the trauma from elementary school age, that remembers it all. And that's what she's there for. She holds all of the trauma in. Sarah, nobody else can remember anything before junior high. They don't know what their life was like before junior high, because one personality is holding all that trauma in. And so, yeah, she has suffered so much unspeakable trauma. It impacted her brain in such a way that it fractured into several pieces to take the daily life. Sarah needed help with her daily life, and so her brain fractured. Well, here's the hard part that she suffered with Nick. One reason why she got 50 to life is also during trial. What I forgot to mention was the public took it as a joke that she had DID. They said, oh, the defense came up with that to get her off. Nobody believed she had DID. DID is very hard to diagnose. Not many people get this diagnosis. It's very hard to diagnose. People love to fake this for clout, especially on TikTok. It is a very hard, and it's very hard to understand. Some people just don't believe DID exists, that it can exist. Because how can this exist? How can your brain, our brains cannot fathom a brain splitting into multiple personalities. And so a lot of people accused her of lying to get off. And so the jury did not want to show her leniency because they accused her of lying. They said, no, you're just a sadistic person. You started with animals and then you moved on to Harold, who was a pillar of the community. And you're just crying this to get a softer sentence, to get out of this. And everybody's trying to prove, no, she has DID. She's handling it in counseling. It's manageable now. She's a true survivor. Let her out and let her show the world how to heal trauma. But no, they let people out after 8 years like Gypsy. Because, see, Sarah's case didn't get the national news that Gypsy's got. The DID case didn't go national because I didn't know about this case. This isn't a famous case. This isn't one of those famous cases out there. It wasn't. I love Rotten Mango because she goes into smaller cases like this. She goes into a lot of Korean cases. She tells cases that she's not out there talking about the next Chad Daybell or Lori Vallow, or the Scott Peterson, or everybody out there that the cases. You know them. You know them well. Most of us lived through them. I just talked about Amy Fisher. I lived through that one. That was my teenage years. So was OJ Simpson. OJ Simpson was my teenage years. Although I've had a case prepared for OJ and stuff. I've been writing a script for a duel. This one's not going to include Gypsy, by the way, but I got a really fun, hopefully fun, not fun, I don't know. Hopefully a good case you guys are like. I'm putting two famous cases together side by side. Not Gypsy's though. Gypsy's doesn't pertain to this one. She's famous, but not this famous. But can't show you what's on this paperwork because it'll give away my case. But I've been preparing a script for for a month now for you guys. I've been preparing a script for a month now. Been putting together this case, but right now we're heavily enveloped in Gypsy, and then by me going up on Sir Morbid's lives, that cemented me a little bit deeper in the Gypsy world. However, I don't know if I will be joining Sir Morbid's lives more. I've been told by people they don't want me up there. Sir Morbid says I'm welcome up there anytime. But like I said, damaged people, even just 3 or 4 people can ruin it for you, even though you got 4 or 5 people cheering for you, saying, yeah, put Rose up there. I love it. I thank you guys for the ones of you guys that wants to see me on Morbid's panels. I've been in his chat for you guys. I've been at least coming into his chats, but I haven't been joining his panels. There's one person that's heavily protesting against me getting up on that panel. And I know I'm not supposed to let it weigh heavy on me, but it does. I tried not to. Tried not to let it weigh heavy on me. I have worked hard for that degree. I am just a few credits away from my bachelor's. I'm upset I didn't finish my bachelor's. I need like $3,000 more amount of funding to finish it. I screwed up in school and I screwed up my funding because I kept switching universities. And you know what? Do your associates at a community college if you can. Don't waste your money. Don't waste all 4 years in the university unless you're like me. I really wanted that associates to say criminal justice. So I paid for it pretty much. I literally did. And now I can't finish my bachelor's because I need like a good $3,000 to finish it because these classes are expensive. There's 2 to 3 classes I can finish at a smaller college that'll only cost me probably $1,000 to do 3 classes. But my last class, I have to finish it up at the university. They added 1 more criminal justice during my break, and they want me to do that, and it's going to cost like $1,700, just under $1,700 for that final class. And then I can start the class before I have the money, but I just don't get my degree until I paid it off, and then they'll hand me the diploma. But first, I do have to pay for the smaller college. The smaller college is a pay-by college. You have to pay for the class, then you get to take the class. So that money's what's standing in the way, not the $1,700, because that $1,700 I can pay that off monthly, and then they'll finally hand me my bachelor's. It's the other 3 classes that are killing me. I'm just 4 classes away from having that bachelor sit behind me. But I put in the time, I put in the work, I put in the years. I put in the study. I used to be a CASA volunteer. I put in the court time. It sucks because people talk about karma. I should have good karma coming to me because of all of I've done in life. This family was losing their kids. I was told to, when I came on the case, I was handed the case. It looked bad on paper. I read about the husband and wife. I can't say what's in the case because technically I'm not allowed to talk about the case, the details of the case, and or the names or the people I took care of. And I didn't meet the parents for a whole month and a half. The whole first month and a half I was on the case, I met the children, and the children were split between two homes, and I met the caregivers, and they had nothing but bad things to say about the parents, and they didn't want the kids to go back. And it was a horrible experience. I thought, wow, these parents, okay, we're placing their kids. We're doing it. And then I met the parents. The second they walked into the room, I could tell by their demeanor and their looks immediately. So these aren't bad people. So these are just people caught in a rut. So this is a normal person who got caught in a rut. And then I reported back to the guardian ad litem, don't take their kids. And I changed the guardian ad litem's mind. They ended up giving the kids back. They were about ready to place these kids. These kids were never going home. They'd been living outside the home for a few months now. These kids weren't going back. You'd think I'd have good karma coming my way, but apparently I don't. Because I've done good in the criminal justice system. But apparently karma wants to kick my butt all the time and keep me damaged, I guess. I don't know why. I don't know what I've done in this life to deserve bad karma. I'm not a mean person. I'm a very nice person. I do like to talk a lot. I do. That's why I have my own channel, because I like to help people and I like to talk a lot. And so I'm sorry if I do a lot of talking on Sir Morbid, especially because a lot of people sometimes when they just want to sit up there on the panel and they just want to talk, whether it's right or wrong. They just want to talk. They just want to talk about the case, whether they're getting it right or wrong. And I like to interject and get the case right. I have this problem inside of me where I do love truth and I do love to see things correct. If I find out that something, if I know the answer to it and I know it's correct, I just want to shout it out. I just got to give the answer. I have to give the answer. If you guys care about psychopaths versus sociopaths, I didn't get to answer that question. They wouldn't let me up on the panel. The panel was full. I did do a video about it long before Sir Morbid did a video about it. I did it a couple months before him. I explained psychopath and sociopath in a simple way that everybody can understand. You don't have to go Google the DSM-5 definition and then judge for yourself. See, I hate it when people pick up that DSM-5 and do the checklist. See, only a psychologist can not only do the checklist, but also notice it in you. I mean, they both pegged her as a psychopath and a sociopath. She fit both checklists. Looking at the black and white checklist, you could check it all off. She's a sociopath. Sorry, guys, she's a sociopath. She's not a psychopath. And I explain it very easy for you in my video. And then we go over famous cases like John Wayne Gacy and Jeffrey Dahmer and people and discuss, show you examples of psycho and sociopaths. Because John Wayne Gacy is a psychopath, Jeffrey Dahmer is a sociopath. But thank you for watching this video if you watched it. I appreciate it. I wanted to make this video because this case is this is a really hard case to go through. To see this girl, she should be out. She served her time. She's rehabilitated like the prison system is supposed to be doing. You're supposed to spend your 10 years that way, Gypsy. Look at Sarah's case. That's how you're supposed to spend your 10 years. If you've done your counseling and if you've done your work, You might have made it into the puppy program, but everybody knew you were in there just to have fun. Your freedom was a different freedom from Sarah's freedom. Sarah really was getting away from abuse. She wasn't getting her way. She didn't kill Harold to get her way in life. You know, it sucks when your mom constantly tries to control your life. And when bad people hand your parent control over you while you're an adult, it sucks even more. It feels unfair. You don't know what real abuse is. You don't know what it's really like to. I like the way that, was it Sir Morbid or somebody that said she's just a helicopter parent, really bad Dee Dee was a really bad helicopter parent who took every moment that she got to take Gypsy to the hospital. She was one of those parents that always posted about it to get sympathy. And to prove that Gypsy needed all these treatments, because she had to show you that Gypsy was in the hospital again, or you wouldn't believe her cancer or muscular dystrophy stories if she never went to the hospital. Because during the first 2 years they were in Missouri, there was no hospital visits. Not until they got that pink house and all those neighbors were watching them did they have to constantly go to the hospital. And Dee Dee had to try and make up reasons to be there, but their problem is that their medical fraud flopped by 2012 because she kept taking her to the doctor, but the tests kept coming out healthy. And the doctors were like, we can't do anything for a healthy child. We can only do something for a sick child. And so their medical fraud was falling apart. And yeah. So, no, her mom, yeah, one fault in her mom is her mom also didn't, first of all, never wanted Gypsy to leave her life like Rod and everybody else did. And second, I mean, Dee Dee should have got out there and dated. She should have. Instead of pulling that medical fraud, if she would have found a good husband to take care of them, they could have had a normal life. But instead, she wanted her daughter to be her forever partner. I bet she wanted Nick to move in, and she probably wanted Gypsy and Nick. She wouldn't have bragged about Nick to the neighbors if she didn't. Because see, my thing that I've said this a few times, I think Dee Dee wanted Gypsy to be with Nick and for Nick to move in. What Dee Dee didn't want was Dan to move in. She wanted Nick to move in and marry Gypsy and take care of Gypsy, but Gypsy was never in love with Nick. She was in love with Dan and older men. She was in love with guys that liked her because she was in her 20s and she looked like she was 12. And that was it's a legal way for those men to have their fun. If you are an adult, but you look like a child and you play like a child. And Dee Dee knew that Dan was disgusting and that he was married and that he had kids and that he shouldn't be anywhere near her daughter. Gypsy wanted Dan. Had Gypsy not wanted Dan so bad and just moved Nick in, they had a 3-bedroom home. They could have moved Nick in. They could have cleaned that house up, moved Nick in. Nick and them guys could have took care of Dee Dee. But Gypsy said, I don't want to take care of my mom. Gypsy straight up told everybody she could live till she's 70. Dee Dee did the same thing to her mother. She's like, I'm not going to see her forever with my daughter and take care of you. Starved her mom to death. So Gypsy did the same thing. She said, all right, well, my mom got rid of her mom. I'm going to get rid of my mom. Be like, but apparently I heard Nick or something say something about Gypsy did try poison, but it only made her, tried pills, crushing them up and put them in Dee Dee's food, but it only made her sleep for a day and a half. I wish I would have marked where I heard that at. Because everything I hear, I need to write it down or mark where I got it from so I can prove to you guys. So I can prove to you guys the receipts of where I hear this at. Because I don't say anything unless I hear it from what I think is a legit source. And so I don't say anything unless I think it's legit and true. That's why I'm not spreading the rumors right now that it's going around about Ken. These are rumors, these are gossip. And unless they prove this engraved jewelry and stuff in scrapbooks, because I'm not going to believe, you could doctor photos. I'm not going to believe, like, if this guy Steve really, I mean, everybody knows Ken works at a bar in Dallas. Anybody could have created that Facebook and put Steve Wood from, I tried to look up Steve Wood in Dallas. I found a lawyer, not a bar owner. Found a lawyer. Guess if I need a lawyer named Steve Wood, couldn't find a bar owner named Steve Wood. Found other Steve Woods that are bar owners, but not in Dallas. I don't know the Dallas suburbs either, which was hard too, because looking up is like, is this a suburb of Dallas or is this in a different state? Is this a Steve Wood in a different state? Because anybody can create a Facebook profile that says Steve Wood works at a bar, owns a bar in Dallas, Texas. Everybody knows. So he's literally in Dallas? Because if you, like, I'm from Salt Lake City, Utah. And when I was growing up, I would say that I was from Rose Park, or because that's the suburb I lived in, even though it was Salt Lake City. Like, you could put on an envelope the zip code and put Salt Lake City and put the zip code, and it would get to me. When I lived in West Valley, when I lived in Magna, all you have to do is put Salt Lake City and put my correct zip code, and it'll get to me because it's all a suburb of Salt Lake City. However, I lived in West Valley, Rose Park, Magna, stuff like that. Those are called suburbs. And so Dallas has suburbs. Like Salt Lake. Dallas is a big city like Salt Lake. It has suburbs. So I can't tell if these Steve Woods are in a suburb in Dallas, because I don't know all the Dallas suburbs. Because I could look up Dallas suburbs, but everybody's trying to look up this Steve Wood. I'll just let everybody else look it up. I don't know. Because I was like, before I put any skin in this Steve Wood game, I need to see some kind of proof. And the fact that he blasted it and then changed his name so nobody can find him or talk to him, he's like, ooh, I can tell you stories. Well, now Gypsy can't even find him. How's Gypsy supposed to DM you when you changed your name? You said you'd tell Gypsy stories. Why'd you change your name? So that Gypsy can't find you now. Because apparently Nina's the only one that knows your new name. And she ain't blasting it. She's keeping it a secret. And so how is Gypsy supposed to DM you? I don't get. Makes no sense to me. You told Gypsy to DM you and then you change your name so she can't DM you. So she can't find you. So nobody can find you. Yeah, if you're going to blast that out on Facebook, you bet you 1 million people are going to message you. And a bunch of them are going to be us streamers going, prove it. Prove it. And you change your name so nobody can make you prove it. So I'm not going to believe just pictures of Ken standing at a bar, with your arm around your buddy, you know. Because I bet Ken has a lot of pictures of him at a bar with people going, yeah, let's take a picture. He's a bar. Everybody loves the bartender. Everybody wants to take a picture with the bartender. The bartender's your friend. So I'm not putting any skin in drama. I'm going to keep talking about the case, keep doing case comparisons. Like I said, I've been writing a script for another thing. It's non-Gypsy Rose, guys, but it's Promise You Two Famous Cases I think you'll like. I think you'll want to talk about them. We lived through them in the 90s. And I got a really nice script starting to go for that. And so hopefully you'll join me for that one too. Love you guys. Thank you. Let me know in the comments what you think. Sorry that I took a nap today so that my meds wouldn't affect me while I was on this one. Sorry that I was out of it on the last one. My meds make me tired for a minute when I first take them. And if I can either push through it or I could take a nap. I could do one of the two and then it'll get the tiredness to go away and then I can finish the rest of my day. But first, I gotta either push through it, which I tried to on that video. Sorry, that was horrible of me trying to push through it. That made me look really bad and drugged up and wrong. Because I have chronic pain. My body's always in pain. I'm on several different meds because I'm always in pain. But I've been through drug court and stuff, so no, none of it's the opiate route. By the way, I'm off that opiate route. I've been clean of that it'll be 6 years this November. I've been clean off that route for a very long time. And so, but I still have meds that I don't sleep at night, and then they make me tired during the day because I don't sleep at night. And then I try and stream through it. And everybody's like, Rose, go to bed. Just go to bed, Rose. You're falling asleep. You're no fun. It's like, I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I'm trying to push through it. I'm trying. And I really try really hard to push through it for my community and be like, I just want to play with you guys. I just want to push through it. But I couldn't. So, anyways, I won't do that again. I will either take a nap or something, but I won't push through it again anymore on stream. So I will make my content clean and happy. Well, as happy as it can be. I will make my content as clean and you get 100% of me. So like I said, I went and after I read those comments today from last video, I went and took a nap and came back. And because I was going to do this around 11 noon today. I was going to do this like 4 hours ago. But I didn't want to disappoint you guys again. So I went and took a nap, came back wide awake, ready to, because I woke up at 2 a.m. last night. I had to travel again this weekend and my stomach is in so much pain. I came back. I can't spend 4 hours. I can't spend all day in a car. My hips are hurting again. And for some reason, I came back this time. 2 months ago when I came back, I was sick because of the smell of my brother's car. My brother who passed away, my mom loaned me his car. And that car made me sick. So I thought, okay, we rented a car this time. I thought we'd be safe. I come back and my stomach is just so messed up, guys. My stomach is just, but I'm well enough to push through this year. That's why I haven't been on since I was traveling on Saturday. I tried to join Sir Morbid's live from my car, but it didn't work out. And he accidentally blasted my real name because I didn't see that my real name was displayed. Supposed to say Talk with Rose. And Sunday I was getting over a lot of the pain. I didn't want to get out of bed because I was resting and letting my legs rest because my legs were hurting so bad. And then after I got to a point where I could get out of bed, our internet went down on Sunday, stayed down till Monday. Like almost a full 24 hours our internet was out. Apparently Salt Lake, um, Houston, San Francisco, a bunch of major cities all went down at the same time. This is so weird. We all went down and we stayed out for almost 24 hours. And then my stomach just started hurting last night. And my stomach is really sour for some reason. I don't know why my stomach is really sour for some reason. And so I'm just not having a good start of this week. I come back from my trip and everything's all wrong. The internet goes down. My stomach doesn't want to let me feel good. Ugh. I'm hanging in there. But I was well enough to do this case for you guys. So I love you guys. Thank you for being here and watching my videos. I really appreciate the support. I was surprised to come back today after a few days break and see how many people watched my last video. 611. I haven't had that many people ever, or in 9 years. I haven't hit that many people since I restarted streaming this year. So that was amazing to be like, what? 611 people watched my last case comparison? No way. 15 likes and a couple of comments. I was overjoyed today when I got to my computer. I was like, I ran into my husband and was like, guess what? While we were gone, while I was taking a break, I'm like, look what I hit. So you guys just totally made my day today. It made me excited to come do this video because it was just beautiful how, well my last case comparison went. You guys really liked that one. So I appreciate that. Thank you for liking that last case comparison. I will let you guys go now. I've been yapping for 10 minutes. But love you guys. Thank you so much for the support. And I'll see you guys later. Remember, stay warm, stay safe, stay loved, because you are, at least by me. So, you're always loved here at the Rosebud community. I can't get viewers anymore.